Hey everybody, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Eden Rock Farm. So when I came out this morning to take care of some animals and get some chores done, I noticed we had about 4 more inches of snow on the ground on top of the sleet and the snow that we already had from those last 2 storms. So I decided to run out and grab me a new heater. I picked up a 80,000 BTU mister heater and I want to get that thing unboxed and do some testing on it. So let's head in the garage where it's a little nicer and we'll get it going. So with the last couple storms that's came through, it's been pretty cold. It's been down in the single digits at night, and in the day, it's been in the teens for the most part. So I wanted a heater that I could carry around with me, kind of an all-in-one unit that I could take up to the barn while I'm working up there or down here in the garage. I'm kind of in the back side of my garage now. I've got a separate room back here. And I've got some water lines back in here, and if it stays cold for a long period of time, they'll freeze on me. I've had some of these torpedo heaters in the past. They're actually called forced air heaters, but we call them torpedo heaters around here. But I've had them in the past with the propane tank as my fuel, and it's kind of a headache to haul those around with your tank and your heater separate. So I feel like this being an all-in-one unit will be a little easier for me to deal with. So this is the 80,000 BTU heater. They make a 50,000. I looked at it also, but I want to make sure I have plenty of heat since I'm going to be using it in pretty big open spaces, especially up there in the barn. I don't think 50,000 would be enough for me. And there's my owner's manual. Looks like I just need to go grab me a Phillips screwdriver real quick and we'll throw this handle on and then we'll look at some of the features on this. And we'll get this thing going. So it seems like a pretty sturdy handle. I don't know about once you get all the weight into it, but right now it feels like it's made pretty good. You've got your thermostat control right here on the side. It goes from 63 all the way up to 95. Here's your on and off switch. You've got just a standard plug with a ground. Right here on the back, you've got your fill cap and your fuel gauge. We'll test that fuel gauge and see how accurate it is once we get this thing going. There's a close-up of the fuels you can use in this one. Kerosene, JP8 Jet A fuel, 1 and 2 diesel, 1 and 2 fuel oil, and there's some biodiesel blends also you can use. So this unit has a 6-gallon tank and it runs up to 10 hours on that 6-gallon tank. That's what it says on the box anyway. So we're going to put that to the test and see if that's accurate and we do get 10 hours of run time out of this. I'm also going to come out and check this fuel gauge every so often and make sure it's pretty accurate. I know a lot of the floats in this style of tank aren't very accurate, but if nothing else, that'll help me to get a better idea of the amount of fuel I have in it anyway. But we're going to be running diesel in this. I have off-road diesel and easy access to it, so that's what I decided to go with. If I have any issues with smell or odor, I may switch over to kerosene or try it out. I also have a carbon monoxide detector that I'm going to bring out once we get this unit going, because this does say that it's an outside unit only. Up in the barn and in the garage, I'm not too worried about. There's plenty of airflow, but right here in this back room where I'm trying to keep my water lines from freezing when it gets really cold, it's a smaller area. But let's grab some diesel, we'll get this thing filled up and get it going. So we've got our heater all filled up with gas. I will say I could only fit about 5 3/4 gallon in there. I couldn't get the whole 6 gallon in it. So as you can see, we're showing full on our tank and it's pretty wet right there around the cap. There's a little seep hole right there where I filled it so full, it started coming out of that once I cranked the cap down. So that may affect our run time a little bit. We'll just have to keep an eye on that and see how that goes. I've also got my timer set up right here. We'll get that going as soon as we start the heater up. And my carbon monoxide detector is right there beside it, so we can keep an eye on that just to make sure we don't have any issues there. But let's get this thing going and see how easy it starts. So we're at about the 2.5 hour mark, and I will say there is a little bit of a fuel smell in here from the diesel, but so far no issues with the carbon monoxide detector. I've been out here every 20 or 30 minutes checking on it, and everything seemed fine there. We've had no issues with that. The fuel gauge is looking pretty good. It's a little less than 3/4 right now. And for the first couple minutes, the gas did seep out of the tank once I got it going. So between that and not getting the full 10 gallons in it, I do feel like we're probably gonna run a little shy on time. And while I had a few minutes, I did look at the owner's manual. Yes, I looked at the owner's manual. So it does say right here in the manual that this heater is suitable for either outdoor or indoor use where adequate ventilation is provided, never used in an area normal for habitation, not for use where exposed to weather. I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there for y'all because it does say on the side of the box for outdoor use only. But let's go ahead and get this cranked up and get it going, and we'll come back out here at about the halfway point and we'll see how it's doing. So we should be about the halfway point. We're at 5 hours now, and I came out probably 2 hours ago, maybe a half hour after I started this back up, and I had to open this main door into my garage up because it was like a sauna in here. When I checked the temperature, it was at about 95. So this heater was probably getting ready to kick off on me because the thermostat just goes up to 95. At this point, it's looking like the fuel gauge is in between 1/2 and 1/4 of a tank. So we're gonna get this thing cranked up for the last time. I'll probably come back around the 9 or the 10 hour mark, hopefully right before it shuts down. So we ended up getting 10 hours and 6 minutes out of that tank of fuel. And considering I didn't get the whole 6 gallon in there, I'm really happy with that. And surprisingly, the fuel gauge is pretty accurate too, even as small as it is. And I did go ahead and test the thermostat off camera as well to make sure it was kicking on and off as it should, and it worked flawlessly. This unit definitely puts out the heat, and it does it quick. So if you have a garage or an outdoor building, or maybe if you're out on your patio one cool evening and you want a little extra heat, this unit will get the job done. The only downfall I can think of is this style of heater is kind of loud, so that's something to think about if you're wanting to purchase one of these. But I think we're going to end that right here. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it if you go ahead and do that, and give me a thumbs up before you leave the video. If you have any questions for me, just leave them down in the comments, and I'll get back to you on those as quick and as best as I can. But thank y'all for joining us here on the farm. I hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time.